The third leadership practice, which I have for you, which you can practice every day, is to expand your space. But before I go into the practice, I want to talk about what do I even mean by expand your space. We all shrink and expand during the course of a day. We all shrink and expand in our bodies. We all shrink and expand emotionally. And we all shrink and expand from our thinking, given the situation we found ourselves in or what we are dealing with. In any stressful situation, whenever we are disempowered, whether we are angry, upset, frustrated, disappointed, sad, or in grief, you will notice that your body is shrunken. It's like shrunken and collapsed in a way. So we all do that. Normally we don't pay attention to that. And then we are feeling joyful, when we are feeling excited, when we are feeling creativity. And that is a moment when we are actually expanding, not just in our body, but also in our conversations, also in our emotions and in our thinking. We can come up with new ideas more easily when we are in a state of expansion. And as a leader, to be aware of when you are expanding the space or when you are in a shrunken space, and then to do something about it, is one of the most powerful skills or practices that you can practice, but you will never find this in business schools. Right? So this is a huge secret that I'm revealing to you, and that is still very new for me, at least not more than 3 years old at this point, that I really understood the role my body plays in my leadership. Bob Dunham says leadership is a full body contact sport. And this is the practice to expand that space in which you take every action. If you take the example of any great leader, be it Nelson Mandela, be it Elon Musk, or even look for a leader from your life that you admire, you will notice that they have always expanded the space around them. And that has allowed them to bring in more people into that space, bring a team together in conversations in that space. Like a leader is pulling everybody, pulling their company behind it. You can do so, but there is very limited potential of results or growth. But when a leader creates a space where everybody almost becomes a part of that space and then starts to move forward in the direction that the leader had shown, but without pulling them, without force, without any pressure, there's a very different kind of energy in the organization and very different kind of results which are possible. Very recently, Patagonia as an example comes to mind. The leader of that company is setting an example not just for their company, but also for the entire industry, for the entire business world, for the entire capitalist world. They're creating a space now by their actions, which will slowly be filled up over the next decade or more than that, be filled up by so many leaders and companies who will fill up that space. And then that might create a totally new definition of business or capitalism 50 years down the line. Who knows? Right? So Patagonia is one recent example of creating a space where there is none, and then inviting others to participate in that space. It's very different from the normal command and control kind of leadership. Now, I want to get into the practice. To start this practice, just get comfortable wherever you are. Just leave everything, all devices, any other open windows on your computer behind, so that you can be fully attentive. Once you have done that, bring your attention to your thoughts. Bring your attention to what are you thinking right now. Bring your attention to what are your desires. What is it that you want in this moment? And then bring your attention to what is the next step. What is the to-do that is on your to-do list? And normally, for most people, when we ask ourselves or reflect over our thoughts, our desires, and our next steps, our to-dos, it's limited in the space of who we are as an individual. I am this person, so I want this. Right? I am an employee, so I want my promotion, or I want my bonus, or I want more free time from work. If I am a manager, then I want support of my manager. I want the support of my team. I want this person to improve their performance. I want this project. So it's all about me, right? Our normal thinking, our normal plans for the future, dreams for the future is about how does it help me. Now, take a moment, once again, take a few deep breaths, get comfortable in your body, right? Close your eyes if it helps, and just imagine that the space you are holding as an individual expands, and then it includes your family, right? So observe your spouse, your children, if you have them, your parents, or anybody else whom you consider family. Imagine your space expanding and including everybody in your family. Imagine that. Right, so now you have expanded your space to include your family. So you are not just yourself, you are also the family. In this state now, observe your thoughts. Observe what are you thinking about. Observe what is your highest vision, what is your dream, what is your plans for your family. What role can you play there? And then listen for what is the next step. What is the next action? What is the to-do items which you can do from this expanded state of your family? And see what comes up. Now, when you're ready to go to the next level, stay in this centered state in your body. Close your eyes if it helps. And see your space expanding even wider. Now include your team. Include the team and the people you are working with most closely in your space. So this could be a small set of colleagues, maybe somewhere around 5 to 10 people. Include your core team into your space. Now you are not just yourself. You have a space in which all of your team is a part of. Now in this moment, observe what are your thoughts. So in a way, you have become your team. You have stopped being yourself or just being yourself, and you are also your team. So your space includes the boundaries of your team, which includes everything in the team, but also all the dynamics within the team. So now you are your team. What are your thoughts? What are your dreams? What is your highest vision for your team? And with that highest vision in mind, see what is the next step. What is the to-do that you must do or that you can do? Let's take this a step beyond that. Once again, take a few deep breaths. Get comfortable in your body. And now imagine that there is a space around you and that expands to include your entire company, entire organization that you're a part of. If you're not part of any organization, just include a community that you feel a part of. Include any community that you feel connected to. Now see that your space is not finishing at the end of your body, at the end of your boundaries, but expanding that entire organization or community. So in a way, you are that organization, you are the community. What are your thoughts right now for that community, for your organization? What is your highest dream? What are your plans and futures? What is the biggest future vision that you can imagine for your organization, for your community? And then see from that space, so you're holding that space, you are your community and organization, and from the highest vision that you have created, see what is the action that would be most meaningful, that would be the most valuable, which you can take. If your mind gets lost in the ifs and buts or the reasons, bring it back. Now, one last level. Bring your attention back to your body, take in a few deep breaths, and see your space expanding much beyond your organization. See it expanding beyond that and to include your nation, to include your country. Imagine that you are the space which includes all of your country. And so you are your nation. Now think of the highest dream, or what is your highest future vision for your nation, for your country. And from that space, listen for what is the action that you must take. What is the natural action to create or to help you move forward. And when you're ready, you can relax, you can open your eyes, and then you can come back to the present moment. Come back. What we just did there was just imagining being, thinking, planning, and acting from different shrunken or expanded spaces. Normally, when we are meeting the world, we're trying to think of ourselves, our survival, our basic functioning. What will I get out of it? That's the default. What great leaders always do is expand that space of what they include in themselves when they speak, when they think, when they listen, and include a larger group. And that larger group could be just a relationship, just your family, or it could be the entire country. That's totally up to you. There's no right and wrong here, but you can always choose, and it's a choice that you have in any given moment to expand the space. All right. So if you're facing a stressful time at work, if you're facing a difficult conversation or a difficult relationship with somebody, see what is the space. Ask yourself this question: am I operating in a shrunken space, or I am operating in an expanded space? From a shrunken space, you will have particular ideas, thoughts, thinking, plans, strategies, to-dos. But if you can stop for a moment and expand your space and include those who are around you, and then you will suddenly have new ideas, new strategies, new steps to put into place, new actions to do. Very often we don't have access to those new actions because our space is limited, not just physically, but also, as I said earlier, emotionally as well as in our thinking. Expanding that space, you can start that with this body-based practice by creating space in your body by breathing deeply, and then imagining that you are holding that wider space. And then based on what is the outcome that you desire, what is the future that you desire for that space, not just for yourself, what is the next step that must automatically happen? Right? What is the next natural step that you must do? And you will see that you will come up with totally new ideas, strategies, examples, to-dos if you do this exercise. And without thinking, without planning, you walk into a meeting and you're suddenly feeling anxious. You just expand your space. You take a few moments to expand your space to include everybody in the meeting and then speak from that place. Your words will come out of your mouth automatically. You will not have to think. You will not have to strategize. You will not have to plan to be confident. You will be confident. You will be expressing yourself in a way that radiates confidence because you have expanded your space. And people around you will ask you, how did you do that? Because it's such a huge difference in everything which you do, because you are just operating from an expanded place while you were earlier operating from a small shrunken space. So once again, nothing right and wrong about this. You can operate from as much of a shrunken space or expanded space. But I'm only trying to illustrate through this practice that this is a choice which you always have to expand your space and then act from that. And actually choose very different actions, very different strategies, plans from a different space. It is your choice. It is a practice. This is also very relevant because the decisions and the choices which you make from the expanded space will be good for the entire collective. Right? So everybody you include in that space, your decisions and choices and what you do will be good for the entire collective. And if you are part of that collective, by natural extension, it will be good for you as well. On the other hand, if you operate from a shrunken space, whatever actions or steps that you take might be good for you, but it might harm the communities, the groups, the teams that you are a part of. And if you are a part of that group, then any activity which serves you in the short term but deteriorates the larger space around it will obviously come back to you sooner or later in some form of harm. To give you an example, right? We are all facing climate change. And this is a direct result of people, leaders, companies operating from a limited space of their company. And they have done or taken steps in the in pure rational thinking, but from a limited space. So all of those decisions which has led to climate change have been good decisions when they were taken from a business point of view, because those decisions help those companies to grow. And what was missing, that the space was shrunken to just the company and not to see how does it impact our planet, how does it impact the ecosystem. This is what lets a company or a factory to pollute the water or the land in which it operates, because those costs are not considered in the space of the business, which is the financial results, how they are measured. Another example is the recent Volkswagen emissions scandals. So Volkswagen took a decision to cheat the regulators, which was helpful for them as a company in that shrunken space. They did not consider the wider ecosystem. So if they had thought about the wider ecosystem by putting out cars which were not properly tested, they were not only hurting their customers, they were not only spreading pollution, they were also, in a way, directly doing harm to themselves, which later happened when the news broke out. Volkswagen suffered a huge harm to its reputation as well as financial fines and so on. But all of that came from that one decision which was taken from the limited space of a company, and not to see the company as a larger ecosystem, customers, the environment, the communities in which it operates. And this is how we can actually avoid making decisions which are beneficial in the short term but harmful to the larger collective. And by expanding your space, even if you don't act, you can always look for what are choices, what other decisions or steps are available to you.